Hello, everyone. I made a code. I made a game, and I'm going to show you how it works. First, let's play it, though. I want to show you what we got here. We got a pill. He's a pill warrior. He shoots viruses, and every time you shoot a virus, you get a score point. You get more and more score points, and that's all. Pretty simple game, not nothing ambitious, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Anyway, I'm going to go through this line by line, all 58 lines, just show you how it works, take you through it. So first I imported different modules. I imported Pygame for the game stuff, system for a specific line of code we'll get to, math for some math operations, and random to generate the random viruses. You gotta make it so that they, spawn a new one at a random spot. I'll get more into how that works later. Alright, so first we say, hey, Pygame, we're gonna make a new game. We're gonna set the screen. These are the dimensions of the screen. This is the caption of the screen. And so these three lines are just setting up the screen and how that works. So you can see it's 1000 by 600. It's called Pill Warrior. That's how that works. I then set a couple of variables, move forward and move back, which are currently false. These I don't use. So when I was developing the game, I had this idea that if you moved W, like A or D, then the pill could move forward and backward. And I decided that I didn't really need that for the game, and so I didn't add that. But there's still some lines of code from when I was trying to do that. So these don't do anything, but that's what those are there for. Then I set a X and Y variable. This is for the pill. So these are the coordinates that the pill will be on. The pill is going to sit in. Then it's going to load an image. It says, "Hey, load an image from this file in this folder." And here it is. This is the file. This is the pill. Drawn in MS Paint. I didn't draw this gun though. I actually took this. I looked up 8-bit gun or 8-bit pistol in Google, and I took one of the first results and just copied it into the MS Paint drawing. So that gun isn't mine, but I think it matches really well. I did draw the pill part, and I did draw the sunglasses, though. We get the dimensions for it. You'll notice that this image is kind of in a rectangle shape. So it's just saying get the rectangle dimension for that. And then it says get the center of that, which is these coordinates. And we get the center. So this is the center of the rectangle where the image will spawn. So 500 and 515 is going to be like here-ish in the center of the pill. So every time you load a game, the first virus will always be at the same spot, at these coordinates, 500, 150. Virus position is the variable that is saved in. Another thing I added before we get to the game loop is the bang sound effect. So bang is a variable I set, and I said, hey, mix a sound and get it from here. Here is the sound effect, the sound file, a lot louder than it is in the game. And that's because I actually set it so that it would to 0.3, which just quiets the sound down. I then set another variable, words, and words is just it's the score in the corner here. So, it's that's what that is. This is defining the size, the font of the words. And then the score is set to 0 because, when you start the game, the score is going to be 0, and then you shoot at a virus and it goes up. So finally, we get to the check virus collision function. The point of this function is to detect if the virus is hit or not. This I got from the first video in the description, which is where I get, the framework of this entire game comes from that tutorial, so I owe a huge thanks to that guy. That'll be the first video linked in the description if you want to check that out. So when this function is running, it says get the position of the mouse, and if the mouse is within 50 pixels of the center of this virus, because this virus has a radius of 50. So this is the center. If I'm within 50 pixels of the center here, then it's going to return true. And if it isn't, it's going to return false. And this will make a little bit more sense when we get it in the context of the game loop. So now we get to the game loop. This is just what runs the game. So it says while true, it just keeps running over and over again until you click X. So you get some events. So for event in events, if I click the X, which is what PyGameQuit is, and it says, shut down the game. And that's where the system function comes in. This is the only thing that the system function is used for. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's what one of the tutorials said, so I did it. So this line says, hey, if the mouse is pushed down, and if it is the left button of the mouse, which is what the number 1 means, then you're going to run check virus collision. And so if that comes out as true, which we see here, if that comes out as true, then it's going to play the bang sound effect, which we got here. It's going to add 1 point to the score, and then it's going to, here's the random function, it's going to set a new virus position to anything within this range. So anything between the 100 and 900 X range, and between 100 and 500 in the Y range. So you got that window of space. So basically, a virus can only generate within this big square here. A virus isn't going to spawn here, or like right by the score. It's always going to be in this kind of window area, so that it's a bit more convenient to find. Don't you know? So that's how this works. Score name. And so here we pull back we get the words function, bring it down here, and we set a new variable, score name, and we take the words, which we already defined here as this is like the kind of font, the size that we want. And so we say render it, and it should say this, but with this variable. So it says type out score, and then in this part, put in whatever variable score equals at that time. And so when it's going through the loop, if you get another point if the score changes a point, if you add another point to the score after shooting a virus, it's going to update it and say, okay, now it's different. So now when we go through it again, I'm going to change it to whatever number it is now. I forgot what this true variable means. And this is just the color of the text. So then we get to drawing. So how Pygame works is that there's basically layers. And the first thing that you tell it to draw in your code is going to be the thing on the bottom, the bottom layer, if that makes sense. So it says screen fill pink. Pink is behind everything else. It's the bottom layer. After that, you draw the circle. And if I can shoot the virus enough to get it to go close enough to the pill guy, as you can see, the pill guy is in front of the virus because the virus comes after the background and the pill comes after the virus. So because it's a layer on top of everything else, it's going to be on top of everything else. So then it's going to draw the image and rect. So as we go back up here, and it's so what this was doing, what these lines were doing, is that they were defining where the pill image would be drawn, the position. And so it says take this image and draw it in this position, and that's what that line does. And then 54, you're going to draw the score name in this coordinate, and that's just what that is. Then you're going to update the display. I don't remember what this line does, but I assume it's important. And then, of course, at the very end, we got PyGameQuit, which I already have here. So I guess I don't need it down there. But I added it anyway because I was watching multiple tutorials and they did it a little different, and I thought, why not? And it didn't break the game or anything, so it worked. It worked out just fine. But yeah, that's the whole code. That's how it works. I'm going to link in the description the videos that I followed, the tutorials I followed to make this. So if you want to try and recreate it or anything like that, you absolutely can. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. You know what? Before I go, I'm actually going to delete the lines I don't need, like the move forward, move backward, and this extra Pygame quit, which I don't need. Let's see if it still operates functionally. Yep, it works. So I didn't need those lines. Yeah, this is great. So now it's a bit more compact. And that's the beauty of Python, is that the whole point is just to make code that's a bit easier on the eyes, a bit easier to process and look at. Which I think is, that's good. I like that. Anyway, good day to you, and goodbye.